Good morning. This is called morning hair. But I'm not going to take a shower yet because we're going to work out with the team soon. So let me post in Discord that we are live, and then I'll give you guys a little preview of the workbook we're doing today. Morning, everybody. Morning, everybody. I'm live on Periscope at Good morning, everybody. Okay. All right, so I think I need to tweet this out, right? Does it automatically tweet when I go live on Periscope, or does anybody know? You guys can comment. My dog's stomach is growling and I'm worried. What do I do? His stomach is growling, or your dog is growling? Those are very different things. His stomach. Okay, it tweets it automatically, so we're live. I'm not really sure. The donut lol. If your pet is important to you, you should go get it checked out. Otherwise, you won't forgive yourself if it's actually something serious. So, I don't know. That's kind of how I feel about pets. I don't have any pets right now, but if I did have a pet, I would want to not regret if something was wrong. It's kind of like having a kid, you know what I mean? You're like, do I take the kid to the doctor right now and risk the $150 bill and then it's nothing? Or do I regret for the rest of my life not taking the kid to the doctor? Tough choice. Okay. Is this on? It's not on. Okay. Anyway, this microphone is actually for Mind Games TV, so you're not going to hear anything from here. I think you're hearing through the phone. So let me show you guys the workbook for today. Check it out. Let me quit this on my computer. Okay. Here we go. This is the theme for the day, as you can see. This is the most important thing in League of Legends. Here it is. Here it is. Okay, yeah. So I like drawing things. I like drawing stick figures. This is a little thing that I drew about team effectiveness. And I better not turn it sideways because I think Mason will kill me. Meat work, yeah. So team effectiveness. So you can see here, like here's a team of 3 people. Here's their potential maximum ability. Here's a team of 3 people, or actually 5 people, and here's 5 people. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just only had room for 3 stick figures. Here's their maximum ability if you put them all together. But here's what their effective ability is with teamwork, 80%. Here's their effective ability with teamwork, 50%. So at the end of the day, the team that wins is this team. So teamwork is quite important because it allows you to hit your maximum, like cumulative. Then there's some other research that shows that teamwork can actually boost what is humanly possible. Like you couldn't ever achieve something by yourself that you can achieve in a team. And the best example of that is Jason Lezak from the Olympics. Thanks for the hearts, guys. And then I have a little story here from one of my new favorite books, Top Dog, Science of Winning and Losing. And I hate this autofocus thing. That's really annoying. Sorry about the autofocus thing, guys. I can't really change that. But it's basically the idea that, like, in my view, teamwork is not about harmony. Teamwork is not about being best friends and Care Bears and getting along. Teamwork is about success. And like when a team is like winning and doing well, they aren't bothered by frictions. In fact, they embrace conflict because it helps them grow and improve. And so, oh, what a nice lot of hearts. You guys are the best. So I think that it's really important for working with not just TSM, but like all League of Legends teams, that like we don't promote the idea that they have to be best friends and that like they can't fight and everybody has to get along, because then how do you improve? How do you confront people who are screwing up? When somebody's tilting in a game, how do you like get in their face and say like, hey, stop tilting, you're screwing up the rest of us? So the important thing for teams is connectedness. Connectedness, not like loving each other. And by the way, this is a result of jet lag. I don't recommend flying from Finland to LA and then starting boot camps the next day, because my body's like 12 hours off. So basically all day I'm like, and all night I'm like, I gotta sleep. So yeah, it's pretty sucky. But anyway, does it help if they're friends? This is a really good question, Michelson and Allison, because there are plenty of examples of teams of best friends that suck, and there's plenty of examples of teams of people who hate each other that rock. So I think that the more important thing is, are they able to be vulnerable with each other? And friends can do that easier. Sometimes they can't. Sometimes it's harder to be vulnerable with your friends. And then the other thing is, when you get together as a group, like on stage or something, do you have that in-group, out-of-group identity? So like, this is our group. These are my brothers or sisters. These are the people that I'm going to defend from those people outside. Because that is the raw, like, evolutionary, like, thing that is at work here in teamwork. When you like supersede your abilities to protect somebody in your group, it's because you're protecting your tribe. So if you have that in-group, out-of-group thing, friendship isn't as important. And then the other thing is, like, can you be vulnerable and connected with the people that you're playing with? And that, yes, friendship helps with that, but there are other ways to get that. So friendship is the normal method through which humans accrue the ability to become vulnerable with strangers. But like, you can change that paradigm and say like, hey, we have a system, you know, we sit down in this way after a game, we have this protective kind of environment, and everybody shares what they think, and nobody confronts each other about their like shame or whatever, and then we move on. So you can create that kind of like safe environment that people feel with friends, like, without friendship necessarily existing. And like, friends with coaches, no, coaches cannot be friends with athletes. Okay, that's a big generalization. Of course, I think coaches can be like kind of friends with athletes, but it gets in the way of what you have to do sometimes. Because sometimes you have to tell them stuff that friends wouldn't say to other friends, and being a friend might inhibit you. So the coach-athlete relationship is special. It's kind of like friendship, but it's more like mentorship in a way. So that's my thought. I'm swiping up the stupid notifications. That's why my finger keeps going here. Okay, let's go through the workbook some more. Okay, this is the teamwork hormone, oxytocin. It's called the love hormone. So you release it like when you get hugged, when you are born, when you're giving birth, when you have birth. So like, you know how like swans like imprint for life when they're born or whatever. I think, is it ducks? It ducks. And like humans, like, you have this crazy attachment to your infant after it's born. It's because of this thing. Okay, and also like during competition. Actually, during competition, you release a ton of this stuff. So you like kind of fall in love with your teammates if you're doing well. Yes, it does. Watching me releases your oxytocin hormones. Yeah, and then I'm going to go through kind of these points here. Okay, so then we have a bunch of study questions. We're just going to go through, and we're going to set some codes of conduct for the team, which is really fun because we get to combine them from all of everybody's previous teams. So here we have Bora from Fnatic, right? Peter from CLG. We have Dennis from like SK Gaming, and I'm not sure what other team Sinskin's been on, and I'm not sure what other team Hanser's been on actually either. Now that I think of his history, is it? Shoot. Oh, anyway, if you remember what teams Kevin Hanser's been on, please type Gravity. That's right. Okay. So yeah, so we get to combine all the best stuff from those teams and like eliminate the worst stuff, and construct like a constitution for the team, you know, behavior. And then we just talk about kind of like the Band of Brothers idea. And this is the loyalty paradigm for in-group, out-of-group. So in-group is the team, and then pro players. So pro players against the world. First it's the team against the world, then pro players against the world, then League of Legends against the world, then esport against the world. So Hanser was on Gravity and Curse Academy, and Sven was on Copenhagen Wolves and NIP before SK. That's interesting, because Soren was also on Copenhagen Wolves and NIP, wasn't he? Or was he on nothing and then NIP and then Copenhagen Wolves? I don't really remember. Okay. Then we're going to do this fun thing. Oh yeah, they played together. That's why they're always cuddling on the couch. Sorry, Dennis. Team roles. So these are the informal roles on a sports team. Comedian, spark plug, distractor, enforcer, mentor, verbal leader, nonverbal leader, team player, star player, malingerer, social convener. And here's like examples of them. And we just kind of go through like who on the team is filling these roles and what impact they have. And then we're gonna make a little chart. Like if you charted teams, you could see like problems with this because you can see like maybe nobody has this role, you know, or like this role is spread out among 4 people weekly, like in a weak way, or like one person has 5 of these roles and somebody else has none of them, which is a problem I see in a lot of esport teams. Is like somebody's filling like 8 or 9 of these roles and nobody else is, and when you take that person out of the team cannot function. So I don't know if anybody's thinking of C9 right now, but yeah. If TSM offered me a full-time job, would I accept? Well, QWURP, that kind of depends on if they could support my family in LA or not, because I live in Finland with 2 kids, and it's cheaper to live there than here. Sedentary versus physical. So then we get, okay, so yeah, that's the team thing, and then we get to the like fun stuff. I'm going to go over physical activity. This is a cool chart from the research at my university. So here we have like, this is the amount of energy you burn when you're sitting. Okay, this is the amount of energy you burn when you're chewing gum and sitting. It's a lot more. When you stand up, it's plus 13%. Okay, if you're sitting on a ball, it's actually more than standing up. And slow walking. So energy expenditure is like really, really, really low when you're sitting. Like unbelievably low. Okay, here's brushing your hair, all right? As much energy expenditure as walking. Okay, here's vacuuming. 200% energy expenditure compared to walking. Cycling, slightly more than vacuuming. And then walking like at a brisk speed, or like a normal speed instead of slowly. It's like, again, look at cycling compared to walking. This is why I hate people who like say, I'm going to go exercise, and they sit on a bike. Because you get more like energy expenditure and actual activity like walking than you do cycling around. So I try to walk everywhere. I cycle when I want to get somewhere as transportation, and otherwise I walk, because the extra 30 minutes it takes me to get there when I'm walking is actually really valuable for the body. And there's a movie called The Intern. I think it's Experience Never Gets Old, and it's about this really old senior citizen intern who joins a company, and the CEO, like, she's like, I want to get more activity around the office, so she brings her bike in and she bikes around the office, and I'm like, if you just walked around the office, you would get like not exponentially, like a small percentage more activity than actually cycling around the office, because you're sitting down and just like wiggling your legs. So that was annoying. I hate pop culture versions of like energy research. Here's the energy you expend in a given day. Let's say you exercise like an hour or 30 minutes a day. Exercise 5%, physical activity 95% is your energy expenditure for the day. And of your total energy expenditure of your body, like 80% of it is just your brain existing. So like this is just less than 20% of the energy expenditure of your body in a given day. Some of that even goes to digestion, that 20%. So like 80% of it is mostly just your brain like consuming massive amounts of sugar. So all this is why exercise is like kind of useless in terms of energy expenditure. Exercise is for health, okay? But it's not for burning more energy so that you can eat more food. It doesn't work like that. Your brain burns like a bajillion times more energy than jogging around the block does. Okay, these are the important muscles for esport athletes because these are the ones that hold your posture up. The ones along your spine on the back, the ones along the side of your body, and then your pelvic floor, which I didn't want to put here because it's basically just your butthole. Okay, and here's some of the interesting research that's coming out of like sedentary. So these are athletes that sit a lot. So I'm assuming that you guys also sit a lot when you're playing, right? So more than 45 minutes to 60 minutes of sitting is really, really bad for your body. So you need to stand up after every game of League of Legends or CSGO or whatever. Okay? Stand up for like 5-10 minutes in between, walk around the house, whatever. Just make sure that you get up from the chair like every 45 minutes and do something for 10 minutes. Okay? Sedentary damage to your body So like the damage that you get by being sedentary is independent of exercise. It's independent of physical activity. So it doesn't matter if you walk around for 5 hours and exercise like crazy in the middle of the day. If you then sit for 5 hours, like you get the damage from sitting for 5 hours plus the benefits of walking around for 5 hours. So you need to eliminate sedentarianism and then add also physical activity, right? So that they're independent. It doesn't matter if you exercise for an hour. It doesn't cancel out sitting down for 4 hours. So make sure that you get up in between, like every game. That's my recommendation. Dynamic sitting, so like if you're a gamer and you're like totally invested in the game, you're sitting upright and you're like moving your hands and like your arms and you're like, look at my back here. See how it is? It's like not on the chair or anything. So like this is like one way of gaming. I don't know if you can see. That's okay. And the other way of gaming is like, you know, sitting up like this. Okay. So Double Lift does the sitting up one. He's like in fantastic shape because like he's physically active when he's gaming. So that's like really crucial. Okay, and everything else didn't print yet because the printer broke and they're out of ink. So I don't know what I'm going to do for the workshop today. There's the printer over there. See it? See that evil printer that's out of ink? And nobody's awake because it's a gaming house. So, like, I don't know where the nearest Staples is, but I think it's nearby. So we'll get ink before we kick off the workshop. But anyway, if you have any questions about the workshop today, like hit me up on Twitter. Or just ask right here. Hey Weldon, has proactive play been a focus this week? What can players do to promote this? Yes, proactive play is always a focus. Corey James, 34, thanks for this question. The only thing that improves performance is aggressiveness and like proactive play. Passive play is the devil. And so it's always my number one focus. And really the things that keep people from being proactive are fear and shame. So you have to give people the ability to overcome their fears and overcome their shame and play hard. And not be risky. Not be risk averse. So I like to talk about like a threat-oriented mindset versus a gain-oriented mindset, or a loss-oriented mindset versus a winning-oriented mindset. Like people who are playing to win versus people who are playing not to lose. You can see a lot of times that this team and other teams are playing not to lose instead of playing to win. And that eliminates a lot of risks that people would take. And it also inhibits your testosterone. So testosterone allows you to take more risks. And when people come in like unhyped up for a game and super nervous and trying not to lose it and look bad, like they're by default like running a lot of noradrenaline and just like really in a panic mode. And they're not like running a lot of adrenaline and testosterone and cortisol, which is like, actually they're running a lot of cortisol, but yeah, but it eliminates their ability to like be excited and focus. Corp asks, are you helping the team with shot calling by having more trust in each other? I think that I'm helping the team with shot calling by forcing them to follow orders, even if they don't like it. I think it's less about trust and more about do it anyway. like what comes first, the trust or the action? I think the actions build trust. So like first you just do it because you have to, and then you start winning, and then the trust comes, right? So trust builds up over time, and I'm not really a big fan of trust because trust can be broken. Like somebody can violate your trust and then it's gone. That's conditional. I need unconditional action. So you can't be like that you trust somebody and then you act, because that's conditional upon how you feel and how you trust them or whatever. It has to be unconditional action. So there needs to be either love, which is unconditional, or just like system, which is you can overcome yourself and do what you need, period. Kind of regardless of whether or not you trust the person or not. Yeah, you're welcome. Jimmy No Knox 128 Quas. You're welcome. Yeah, it's really fun. I like Periscope. And I like having something to talk about on Periscope, because normally I'm just like in Uvascula, like doing Skype sessions, and so it's a little harder to go over workshops, but like being live in LA gives me the opportunity to. Sounds a bit like fear of commitment. Hey, Summer. Nice to see you. Okay, I'm going to film Mind Games TV, so I'm going to like look away from the camera for a little bit and like record that and do the behind the scenes. Hi. And so you guys can like watch live while it's happening. It'll be up on YouTube probably like tomorrow or the next day, thanks to Mason, the amazing Hello Hi video editor. By the way, if you want to sponsor the show so that I can pay him more money, contact me. The donut lol. Andy's pretty amazing. He's super invested in this team. You can tell, like his heart is in it, 100%. Okay, so what else was I going to say? Oh yeah, so I'm going to film this behind the scenes, My Games TV episode 66, and then I'll take questions about it, or extra questions from the stream. So then I'll come back to you guys, and I'm going to drink my tea. Okay, I'll put you here, put you here, I'll put you here. All right, don't fall over. Okay, let me make sure my thing is recording. Test, 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 test. Okay, it's my first time with my new mic. I hope it works well. You released a video before criticizing Andy the way he spoke to his players. Have you talked? I have not talked with him, no. Haven't talked to him before. So, in the video, I think if you watch it, like I say that basically Andy is a fantastic businessman, and he has one of the most important characteristics of a coach, which is that he can confront players. But in the science of behavior change, like the confrontation point is actually one of the most important ones, and it's the point at which you can force people to take accountability for their actions. So that's crucial, and a lot of people miss that capability. So I like that. But then there's a whole host of extra things that go along with behavior change past the confrontation stage. Things like, okay, so now they know that they're making a mistake. How do they keep on task and try to remember it? How do they, let's say that they're trying to change. What kind of communication do they need when they're trying to change? Let's say that they've changed now and they're mostly there, but they still slip up and make mistakes. What's the best way to motivate them to not make those mistakes? So your communication changes a little bit at each stage. And I think that when you have somebody who knows that they have a mistake, wants to change their mistake, keeps messing it up, and keeps getting confronted for it and yelled at about it, it can be very demotivating and crushing, because you're just why can't I fix this thing? I just keep getting yelled at and I want to change, but I can't. And it's very sad to be an athlete in that circumstance. So I think Andy's amazing. I think he's super motivated to win. I think that he's clearly a really good CEO and a really good leader in business. And in business, the nice thing is you don't need to worry about changing people's habits, because you just tell them what to do, and if they don't do it, you can fire them, right? The consequences are there. The motivation is up to them. In sports, I think at the top level on sports teams, top tier sports teams, that is the ideal. You can be a coach and you can ignore some of those other steps because you have a big roster, and if somebody isn't performing, you bench them for a few weeks and they learn, and then they come back up on the starting roster. But in league, it doesn't function like that yet, so you lose your biggest tool. And so if you can't motivate a player intrinsically, then all of a sudden you start losing roster members and performance. So it's a little bit a tough situation for Andy, because the sport isn't evolved yet enough for his style of coaching to be super powerful. If he was coaching Madrid, Real Madrid, and he could just bench players and bring them back and use the tools of discipline to force people to behavior change, he'd have a lot more success. And it would be a lot more fun for him too, I think, because you tell somebody to do something and they don't do it, you're just yeah. So anyway, what do you think about the democratic shot calling as opposed to authoritative voice? Democratic shot calling. Yep, this is a system that I've been promoting in Esport Coaching Network nonstop, and I worked on it with Robert Yip also. I've talked about it with him. Robert Yip is the Immortals performance coach. He came from StarCraft 2. He was the little ones sports psychologist, and he and I have been working together for a year, and working on stuff theory about League of esports psychology. And so I think that in Immortals he's been really, really strongly promoting that style of system, and clearly it works fantastically. That's my opinion on that. All right, let me record the show and then I'll get to questions. Today I talk about procrastination in real life, training with time restraints, and how to improve your predictive ability. Welcome to Mind Games TV, episode 66. Today I have a new microphone. You can't see it. Okay, this is my traveling microphone because I normally have this like big kind of like clunky microphone, and I don't have it with me because I didn't want to bring it and increase the weight of my luggage. So here we have this cool like new little lavalier mic, and we'll see how it goes. And I'm in day 3 of my TSM boot camp. I'm streaming live on Periscope right now. If you want to watch, check out at Mind Games Weldon for the behind the scenes on these kinds of things, Mind Games TV, and also stuff. Whoa, sorry, Periscope. Stuff like the workbook that we're going to be working on today, going through that kind of stuff, and giving you a preview and a hint of what is to come this weekend when we face off for CLG. It's like how do I put it? It's going to be a very emotional day for me and Double Lift to like face off against another team. What is my morning hair? This is crazy. Okay, anyway, yeah, so I haven't showered yet because we have physical activity this morning. We're going to do some sort of awesome exercise. I don't know if I'm going to do yoga or like the 40% like body weight stuff, which like is a really fun thing where you, anyway, I'll tell you about it later because I don't want to spoil it for the guys. But yeah, we're gonna do something crazy. I'm gonna get all sweaty, and then I will fix this. Okay, so let's dive into the show. First question from William at Achimuth on Twitter. How do you stop procrastinating things in real life? I am the least qualified person ever to answer this question. I procrastinate things in real life nonstop, so I'm not really sure that I have any advice for you, William. Here's how I've been dealing with it. I used to beat myself up about procrastination and like really like, stripe myself and like think that it was a horrible thing and think that I was useless and worthless and like would never be a good human being. And then I was like, now I don't care. I just procrastinate and I'm like, whatever. I'm obviously clearly lazy and don't care about that. And if I don't care about that enough to do it, then maybe it doesn't need to be done. And then I go do something else more fun. So you have a limited amount of time in life, and I just want to do the things that I actually want to do. So if I want to do something, I'm like, yes, and I just go do it. And if I procrastinate from something, I'm always considering like, maybe that's a sign that I actually don't want to do that thing badly enough to actually do it. So maybe I can find some other way of caring about the world or like caring about that thing in order to get it done, or maybe I can just like not care about it and not do it. That kind of breaks down a little bit when it's things related to work, so you got to get paid to live, or like relationships where you can't procrastinate because people are depending on you. So that's a struggle as well. My procrastination definitely like hurts my kids, but then I like to think that I have other positive benefits, and nobody's perfect. All right, so sorry I can't really answer your question. Freezy Lowell, I can't jump into Periscope questions right now because I'm filming the show live, but I will tackle that as soon as I come back to Periscope after the show. And hello, Mind Games TV. Okay, next question from Anthony. I'm not sure how I should be training. With 3 hours a day, should I be playing as much solo queue as possible, or play a few games and watch replays? I like this question. So if essentially Anthony's asking like, what is the most effective training method? What is the most effective use of my time if I have 3 hours to train in the day? Solo queue or like combination of watching my replays. So the answer to this question is actually situationally dependent, but in general, I think that you'll get more out of your play if you reflect on it. So fewer games means more opportunity to like regret the horrible mistakes that you make. Hey, Clink. And so I like playing fewer games. Like when I went from silver to like plat, it was on 2 games a day. And so I was really focused during those 2 games. And every single mistake that I made like seared itself into my memory because like I only had those 2 games. So I really like the concept of like limiting your play in order to increase the effectiveness of that. However, there is a minimum amount of dosage of play that you need to actually get the mechanics necessary. So like I already had platinum level mechanics, I just didn't have platinum level decision making. So like for me it was pretty easy to go scale up on 2 games a day. So if you don't have the mechanical prowess, which a lot of people like overemphasize that, it's really like mostly a decision making game. This is a marathon. You just need like a basic level of fitness, and then you got to like push yourself through to the end and make the right decisions along the way. So I think that like you can probably consider mixing it up, Anthony, so that you have like maybe 4 or 5 days of just nothing but spamming, and then you have 2 or 3 weeks where you play like 1 or 2 games, and you intensely focus on what you're doing and every decision you're making, and really just like limit your playtime so that you can increase the quality of it, so that you can increase the quality of your playtime. And then you have another week of like mechanical prowess where you're just focusing not on decision, yes on decision making, but not focusing on it, focusing on just like raw mechanical outplay stuff. And that's the week that you play assassins and AD carries pretty much exclusively. Okay, last question from Mo at HealthySpoonGG. I'm trying to improve my forethought when it comes to macro play in League. How can I do this effectively? So Healthy Spoon GG is asking about like how do you improve your predictive ability and like your forethought? And one of the best ways is to play jungle and try to guess at every moment where the enemy jungler is going to be, and then try to counter gank them. Like, and you start. Here's how this works essentially. People who train in predictive ability, forecasting, are best when they basically predict the future and then check it and see if they were accurate, and then adjust their prediction and then check it again, and then adjust their prediction and check it again. It disabuses a lot of how do I want to say this? You know the people who like sit on TV like as political pundits and say like it's going to be this way, or the business people who say the economy's going this way, and they just kind of like make it up because it's based on their own like feeling and their own like desires and beliefs about how the world should work. You have to eliminate that. You have to get rid of any sort of like incorrect assumptions that you make that are based just on like how you want things to be, and you have to like just look at the facts. And so it's good to just collect data and look at the data like in a very objective way, and then make a prediction, and then see if you were right or wrong, and then make another prediction and adjust forward. So with jungler, you can basically spend the entire game doing predictions. You can predict where it's going to be, what pathing he's going to take. Like when you're zoning in, you look at the team comp, you think of the jungler, you think where is he going to start, how's he going to do this, and then you're like, how can I mirror that? And then you try to predict what you could do to mirror that, and then you try to show up where they are, and you check. And every single time you check and you find them, you give yourself a little gold star. And every time you check and you don't find them, you think, what did I do wrong? What information did I guess wrong? And that kind of helps you improve your predictive ability. Now, then for macro play, you can do the same exact thing. You can try to predict exactly what the enemy is going to do and catch them doing it. So essentially, like, let's say the team gets annihilated, then you try to predict the next 2 minutes of the game. So your team's all dead and about to respawn, so you say like, okay, the enemy team is going to do this, and then they're going to go here. So if we get vision here, we can catch them there. So then you run out of base and you try to get there, and you try to do that before they get there, and you see if you can pull it off. And another thing that you can do if you're winning instead of losing is it's kind of easier to force people to do stuff. So like it doesn't really matter so much if you're like pushing the enemy team in and like predicting that they're going to turtle, because that's what you're doing, and then they're going to engage on us because you're pushing their inhibitor turret. So like of course they are, but then you can work on the micro predictions. So instead of macro play, you can work on like micro predictions in terms of like, okay, how is this team fight going to go out? What is going to be the initiation? What do I need to dodge and what do I need to interrupt? And what am I looking for? And kind of start predicting that. So I think that those are really powerful skills. I think that people don't practice them because they don't spend the time. It pulls you out of the flow and makes you like work in the middle of play, so it's not as much fun. But I did it with jungle, and like within like just a week of doing that in the jungle, like I had a very strong insight into the game in terms of like, I'm just learning tons of stuff about like how it is the junglers move. So yeah, that's my recommendation. There's a book called, I think, Super Forecasting by a researcher at, I want to say University of Chicago, but actually could be somewhere else. And this was when, after 9/11, the special services, or the special, like CIA, IRS, not IRS, CIA, and what is the one that like looks at the national stuff, whatever they are, NSI, something like that, National Security Agency, NSA, and I'm not even sure if that's right, whatever, doesn't matter. They started creating a bunch of games to try to like find better ways of predicting things, because they realized they were really bad at it and they needed to like get together. And so they started a contest, and this guy recruited a bunch of people, volunteers, and entered all the contests, and like created a bunch of super forecasters, and won a bunch of the contests, and had the most success of any squad. So I think he wrote a book about it. I think it's called Super Forecasting, and that is a really great insight into anybody who wants to forecast anything, like predict anything in the future, because these people were not experts on their fields, and they were still predicting things accurately. So I would check that out. It talks about the system of how you can be a forecaster, rather than like the system in which you are trying to forecast, which is what 99% of like legal analysis is. And it doesn't get into actually like how you should go about correcting and doing proper forecasting. Okay, so I want to end today on a quote from Mike Ditka. You're never a loser until you quit trying. So this has to do with the procrastination thing. And yeah. The Bears. The Bears? What? What are you guys talking about? I want to know. Let me in on the joke. New folder. 66. Save. Oh, Chicago Bears from... Oh, yeah, Mike Ditka. Yes, okay. I got the connection. Got the connection, thank you. And thank you, Mason, for the great show notes for this show. Super fun. Somebody's messaging me on my messaging app. Let me see if I can find out what's up there. So, do you guys have any more questions about what we talked about today or about anything with TSM before I take off? I need to call my family in 7 minutes. Say hello. Yeah. How do you think TSM will perform next week? LCS 2-0, obviously. I'm here, so we're going to clean house. That's how it goes. Okay, Pete CLG, please. How many game for improve you? Oh, Clint, can you say that again? I'm sorry, it didn't come through. And I say hi to the fan for a day. Man, you guys, these messages fade so fast, and there's no way to look at them in the chat history. So I need you to type the message again. Sorry. Who is better, sports psychologist, you or Robert Yip? We are both awesome. How many games for improvement per day? 1 to 2, maybe? The more you can play, the better, Clink. Have a productive week and accessible weekend. Thank you, Donut Love. Clink, I would say, like, basically the more that you can play, the better. What do you, the main issue with the team shot calling? Main issues with the team shot calling is that the shot calling is great, and, like, nobody listens to it, really. Communication is the main thing with the team shot calling, I think. Just like the communication system, it's not like the relationships are bad or anything like that. It's just like we need to smooth it out. We need to make it more efficient, more effective. Okay. Who will win versus TSM versus IMT? TSM, obviously. Sorry, Robert. What was your involved in TSM's communication? What is establishing a team captain like Fnatic effective? Captains are great because they can be nonverbal leaders, but the captaincy needs to be socially established. So it has to be he's a captain first and then is assigned to be a captain. How can a player deal with having anxiety, fear to play solo queue? I have an article on this called Just Press Play. If you search mindgames.gg, Just Press Play or Press Play or whatever, or Just Press Start, something like that. It's on there. What was the other question? I feel like I missed one in there. How am I involved in TSM's communication? Basically, we're just trying to like make it so people can take riskier communication, say what they really think. It's like, okay, imagine this. You have a new group of people. They all like each other. They don't want to hurt each other's feelings, and they're all playing, and somebody does something that's wrong, and like, how do you talk about that in the game, right? People start using generalizations. They're saying like, we should probably ward Baron, and maybe what they really mean is like, Dennis, why didn't you ward Baron? But they don't want to say that because they don't want Dennis to feel bad because they're nice people. And like, Or maybe they're thinking like, Bora, I don't think that call was the greatest call. But they don't say that. They say like maybe we should think about like what could we do here like instead, so they generalize it. So that's not very effective because it's like there's this like big social talking thing to try to make people feel better and try to like smooth over the social dynamics. So once people are friends and they trust each other, then you can like confront people about that kind of stuff and like growth happens more swiftly. But what do you do to make that occur sooner? That's how I'm involved in TSM's communication. Is to make people like confront each other earlier in their relationship and survive it. Because then you have to be able to not like hate each other after that. So yeah, and I should get going because I'm really hungry and I need to finish prepping for the day. But TSM bootcamp, 6 days, Tuesday through Sunday. But thanks for stopping by, everybody, and I can't wait to see you next week for what's for breakfast. I'm fasting, so I'm actually not eating any breakfast. So I lied. I'm just going to get a drink of water. See ya, have a good day. So what are you saying? Is they have to be straightforward? Yes, I'm saying they have to be straightforward. That's exactly what I'm saying. Oh my gosh, I'm like twisting this cable. And I'll be here like a few more days streaming, and then next week I'm with Ember, and then with Team Renegades, and then with Team Liquid. So tune in for the next 3 weeks for fun stuff. You're going to see a lot of the same stuff because I'm going to do the basics with all the teams, unless they're already like crushing it, in which case I'm going to do more advanced stuff. Like when I did the CLG bootcamp, I'd already been working with them for like months, so it was super easy to go into really advanced stuff. But with most of the teams here, I'm doing like the basics, kind of like I did with Fnatic because I started with them. And yeah, Fnatic has a new support. Holy cow. That kind of caught me by surprise, too, because obviously, like, Daler was really busy, like, trying to figure that out, and we didn't have time to coordinate, like, stuff with the team, so, yeah, it was just like one day I logged onto Reddit. Whoa. Thanks, I'm waiting for the next stream. Okay, check this out, too. I'll put this Periscope up on YouTube if I can get it downloaded, and catch you guys later.